Nothing's ever easy. For this guy here. Getting there, folks. I had to restart the app for this. More to come. Getting there, folks. I had to restart. Wow, that's choppy. For this. More to come. Getting there, folks. I had to restart. Wow, that's choppy. What do you think, Dan? We look all right? You know what I mean by that. Mr. Dan, why am I coming up choppy like this? It's terrible. All right, I'll be back. Not sure what to do here. Give me a second. Christ, it's terrible. I'm gonna restart this and see if that makes any difference. Probably not. Alright, let's see if this works. So what I've done is, in order to improve video footage here, is so I moved my computer from the Wargame table, and it used to be hooked up directly to an Ether cord, and having moved it over here, I had it, locked down Long Island. I had it wireless, and so I thought if I go and buy a 25-foot Ether cord cable and hook it, it'll be better. So I don't know. It's a continuing work in progress. Lockdown from Long Island, New York, right? We're all, I feel like I'm in prison, but I'm not. Does that make sense? It's like I can leave my house. I don't know, maybe it's like house arrest, but again, you can leave your house. Can't interact with anybody, really. I mean, I guess you can if you're a masochist and want to get ill. So my first question is, any of you out there, are you sick? Have you been sick? Do you have a family member, neighbor, or friend, somebody you know that's been sick? And if so, how's that working out? I mean, I don't know how else to ask that. I don't know anybody personally. There's been reports that people I have worked with were sick. People that worked at my branch of the library. I'm yet to feel ill or anything. About 3 weeks before all this started, I acquired strep throat, which turned into pneumonia, and I was tested for flu, and they didn't say I had flu, so I don't know what was going on with that. I've been fine since. What else? Also, about 2 weeks ago, which I think was a little too late, about 2 weeks ago the library finally shut down to the public, and which was nuts because they had already closed the public schools, but left the libraries open, which meant everybody's just going to come to the library. So after a week of being open to the public, and definitely should have not been, in my opinion, they shut down to the public, and then shut down a week after that completely. So I am currently on civil leave, which means I get paid. That's not a permanent thing by any means. I don't know how long it will last. It will run out eventually, depending on how long this goes, at which point I assume I will be placed on unemployment. And so, I mean, I'm not as bad off as some people that are just completely out, totally unemployed, not getting anything. That's terrible. If that's the case with any of you, please feel free to share. That's awful. That has happened to a lot of people. So my situation is such that I'm lucky, I guess, but I know a lot of people out there aren't so lucky, and I feel bad for everybody. I really do. This is something that I never thought And I'm not trying to be dramatic, but honestly, this is something I thought I'd never have to live through, never thought about it. I didn't want to get into this just yet, but while it's on my mind, I hear people saying it's like wartime, and if I were they, I would hesitate on using that analogy. It's bad, but we don't have impending bombs that are going to fall on our houses and people trying to shoot us if we leave the house. It's not quite like, and I've never been in a war, but I can use my imagination and think it's probably not quite like wartime stuff. I think I get what they're trying to say. It's bad, and there's a lot of things that hospitals and whatnot they're having to deal with. But let's be careful in saying it's like a war thing, because there are many people that have lived through wars, and they could probably be the first to tell you that it's not like a war thing. So, all right, that's that. So let's read through some of these things that you guys have stated thus far, and it looks like we've got I don't know, half a dozen of you so far. Let's see. Happy birthday! It is not my birthday. All right, right off the bat, Dan Pancaldi and I've already stated this, and you're probably adding to the joke. I appreciate that, John. But no, it's not my birthday, so and that's all silliness. Seeing here you just fine. Is that still the case, John, or anybody else? And already saw Joe's lockdown Long Island statement there. Joe also says that they are all well there. I'm assuming family and friend-wise. Not sick, but it's all over my area of Michigan. Well, I think that's a lot of the case everywhere. Some places obviously worse than others. I don't know if that has to do probably with population density, etc., demographics. But my opinion is, and it means nothing, it's an opinion, but I feel like we're still on the uphill of this thing. We haven't even peaked. It's going to get worse before it gets better. I'm not trying to sow panic and fear and be a doomsayer, but I think we got a ways to go yet. I know that's not what everybody wants to hear. I'm as eager as anybody for this to be over with so we can move on with our lives. But you got to be careful, and not to get political, but yes, the economy needs to get jump started and back on track, but we don't want to jump the gun and do that and then risk people infecting each other and having a resurgence. I don't know. I don't know what to do. It's definitely not my area of expertise, but I certainly feel like I'm living in a science fiction novel right now. And as you can imagine, I did stock up on Guinness. For the love of God, I went to the store for a needless trip for something I don't need, but I did it, went and got Guinness, and risked getting sick. I've been out a few times. I've been riding the bike. I rode about 45 miles this week, roughly 10 miles a day. Still doing the yoga stuff, so I'm trying to do what I can to stay healthy. Not that that's going to prevent an infection, but I mean, cheers to you guys. We're going to make it through this. And there's probably some of you that are having a good laugh at this. That it's probably not that big of a deal to you, and you're certainly free to take that approach. But somewhat concerning, as I think it should be. So what else? I've got a few notes scratched here. You guys drinking anything? I know that's cliche, and one of these days I'm going to do a video making fun of us war gamers and our cliches. Always with the, I'm drinking such and such. I don't know how that started or where that comes from. I guess we're all alcoholics. But feel free to share anything you're drinking. I almost bought a bottle of champagne tonight, but I thought you guys ain't ready to see me on that level. So maybe let's give it another year. The honeymoon's still on, so yeah, John, it is. I agree with you. There is the distinct possibility of tens of thousands of lives that will be lost because of this. This is, I fear, something that will be telling our grandkids about the great corona flu of 2020, unfortunately. So, yeah, it looks like this is working so far. I'm hoping the actual Ethernet cable connecting to the computer will keep us stable. The last couple of times I've tried this, and I expect I'll crash again. Last couple of times I've tried this, it's crashed. So let's cross our fingers and toes that things stay intact, at least for a while. I already gave you the timeline on the library and all that stuff. My family's doing fine. They're, of course, in St. Louis. Mother pleading desperately for me to come home and visit. You know, it's maybe I should, but I feel centered here where I live. And travel, is it the best idea to travel right now? Yeah, I don't know. Things are such that it's just not conducive to a fun, vacation-y thing. Not that it needs to be that. I guess it's more of a serious family time thing, but Dogfish, Grateful Dead IPA, and Bush. See, I think I just whacked out. Diet Coke. John, you drinking just Diet Coke? Bless you, sir. With the Diet Coke. Watching the calories there. Dogfish, Grateful Dead IPA, and Bush. Not mixed together. Joe, are you mixing those? Are you finishing off one can and starting another or something else? What else? Yeah, so a trip to St. Louis to hang with family. You know, I guess I'm paranoid. I hang out with Ma, I hang out with the stepdad, I see the brother, I see the sister-in-law, I see the nephew. How many people have they seen coming into contact? I feel like I'm just increasing my chances. And I'll also admit that, I mean, I'm not old, but I'm not young, and I'm going to be 47 in August. I've always had issues with my lungs, with asthma, and I had pneumonia so many times as a kid, they thought I had cystic fibrosis. So I think if I did get this thing, it wouldn't be a quick recovery for me. I think I'd be okay long run, but I think it'd be a battle, and it's not a battle I want to fight if I don't have to. So again, yeah. I mean, I've typically when I do these, I know how it's set up. You just see me on the screen. That's because I'm a Luddite. I don't know what I'm doing. If I knew how best to do it, I would have the multi screens of everybody so they could pop on and say their piece, etc. But that said, don't let this fool you. I mean, it's not about me. I do this for all of us, and I encourage you guys. I don't want to steal the show here. It's just as much your show as it is mine, so definitely feel free to chime in. Say whatever's on your mind. I think a lot of us, me included, are running kind of the lonely gambit here, more so than usual. So it's a chance for us to chit-chat, and that works if you guys chit-chat as well. I mean, I'm telling you, you're going to get sick of just listening to me all night, so. That said, I will try and referee this little shindig as best as possible. So yeah, how you guys been spending your time? What have you been doing? Are you able, here's my question, right? And I found this wasn't quite such a problem. Stopped watching the news, Joe says. It's too much, it makes you nuts. Well, you're a smart person, Joe. It's good to be informed, but I have to say, when we get conflicting messages and news that we're not sure how factual it is, and what are you supposed to believe anymore, you know? So it's tough, man. And then Kaslow, is that Lone Canuck? Kaslow, Calgary, Lone Canuck? Mr. ASL, look at the facts. The CDC estimates that 12,000 to 61,000 deaths annually since 2010 blamed on the flu. Globally, World Health Organization estimates the flu kills 290,000 to 650,000 people per year. Yeah, well, there's that. And John's still talking about lockdown with his wife. Well, at least you're locked down with somebody that you can enjoy your time with. My escape is a secret room in the attic. Now, John, does the wife know about the secret room in the attic? And hopefully it's not full of little shoes. That's a bad joke, sorry. We all need our secret room in the attic. That could be metaphorical or literal, but we definitely all need our secret room in the attic. And good point, Kaslow, says Joe. Yeah, Kaslow, thank you for sharing that, those facts. And I'll be cutting in like this. I don't know why I narrate this stuff. You guys can see it for yourselves, but I do it anyway, so bear with me. But how are you spending your time, and are you able to focus? So, for me, it wasn't that difficult initially, but now my attention span is virtually gone. I find it, I don't know, my head's distracted, and you know, obviously there's stuff going on. I'm not worried about not having a job. The job will be there when all this is done, but I worry about civil leave running out, unemployment. You only get so much of your salary with unemployment. How long will that last? I've got a brother who's in between jobs. He quit a job of, I don't know, 10, 15 years for a better job. And pretty much when he put his 2 weeks in, this stuff hit the fan. So now he's in between jobs, and the place actually told him, you didn't quit your job yet, did you? And, well, yeah, yes, he did. So he's not sleeping at night. It's nerve-wracking. So that said, my bringing this up ties into obviously the ability to sit down with a game and concentrate. Now, the counter side of that is sitting down and playing a game would be admittedly a wonderful distraction. But that's assuming you have the focus and attention span that some of us, myself included, are finding it harder and harder to afford. King Philip's War and Escape from Hades, Joe has been playing. And John says it's good for an hour or so a day, otherwise I'm in hell. Call 911. In hell because of you're with the wife? Come on, John. Come on. Is that what you're talking about? Not that I haven't been playing stuff. I have. In fact, I just posted a video earlier today of this this Vietnam card game that I was working on when things were a little more fluid with the H&S Games company. Shelved 2 or 3 ideas. And I've gone back now that I have 24 hours a day of nothing to do. Went through and pulled a couple of things, this being one of them, thinking maybe I could finish it. We'll see how that pans out. But the Vietnam card game, so I've been fiddling with that. And obviously some ASL stuff. And you know, let's take a little detour for a second here. And I'll also add that I've got somewhat of a sweetheart these days, and she insists on isolating, so I'm not gonna try and talk her out of something that she doesn't want to do. So, I mean, otherwise I'd be able to hang out with her, but I get it. People are paranoid. And she says she doesn't want to get me sick because I'm old. You know, that's hilarious. Whatever. Back to the ASL stuff, and looking for inspiration as I typically do. I know where to go, and there's a book called The Lions of Carentan. I don't know, Volker Greaser. I think I've talked about this in the past. 6th Fallschirmjäger Regiment, Carentan. And but don't let the title fool you. It is actually history of the 6th Fallschirmjäger Regiment, up from like 43 up into Carentan, and after that even, I believe. And let's see, the 6th fought in Italy, so they talk about that against, I believe, Italians. So that would be, I think, 43. Check my math. I think part of the regiment was sent to the Eastern Front, of all places, for a while, and then more specifically for my area focus, France in 44, and specifically Carentan. If you guys, if that interests you, I definitely recommend checking that book out. I don't know if it's something that you can, if you can just run down to Barnes & Noble. Well, I guess that's closed now anyway. Just, you can get anything online, find it on Amazon or something like that, and check it out. I think it's worth checking out. But that got me interested, and I've always kind of been interested in doing a game, designing something specific to a certain area in battle of the tactical scale, and I guess I'm as susceptible to as anybody else to the show Band of Brothers, and there's a hell of an episode on there that deals with Carentan, and it's all quite invigorating. But that said, I would like to look at how other games treat the topic, and I can't help but see what ASL has done. And now I've noticed there's no shortage of scenarios for ASL. That said, that's a given. That's a no-brainer. There are a number of